All right, got some more progress tonight. It doesn't feel like progress, but it is in fact progress. So, tripping over shit. Trying to figure out where the hell to mount my shock towers, my coilover towers, and how to get enough upper travel. I thought I was going to have to switch to 12-inch coilovers instead of the 14s that I bought used on Marketplace. And they are at complete full bump. I've got a decent amount of room between anything I'm going to contact and the axle. Plenty of room with the track bar. This whole thing could go higher, but then I need a shorter coilover. So, do I put these coilovers in the rear? They're 14-inch coilovers, 14-inch travel coilovers, King 2.0s. Do I put these in the back of the Jeep where I theoretically have more room to play with if I cut through the tub if I really want to? Or do I live with it where it is? Use these in the front. But I got some advice. I actually got some advice from Nate over at Dirt Lifestyle. And I went to some Facebook groups and I talked to my buddy Mark over at FM Jeeping. And I think I've come to a consensus. And that is that the tabs that I put here, which you'll notice are now gone, that's a bad place to put the coilovers. Unless I wanted to make the towers taller. You also notice the towers aren't mounted anymore. Then I thought, well, how about here? That's also not a great place to mount them. I mean, it would be an okay place, but I lose like 2 or 3 inches that I could get in up travel because I had enough room between the axle and the frame and the motor and really all the things that mattered that I could have had another inch or two of up travel. And that's important to me. So I decided that now is the time to not cut corners. And what I'm going to do is cut these guys off. And Off-Road Anonymous, who make the towers that I have cut off at the moment, they also sell a lower mount, which goes and like straddles the lower control arm mount. Now this isn't their lower control arm mount, this is the barn's lower control arm mount, but they should have the same dimensions, I think. According to the website, like according to the measurements they put up on their website, and according to the measurements I took from these mounts, I should be able to buy their mounts, which I already have, and then take the lower coilover mounts that they have straddling this and graft them onto the barn's lower mounts. And if that does not seem like it's going to work, all I really have to do is cut off these lower control arm mounts and put on the Off-Road Anonymous ones. I can find out if they're going to fit without damaging them. So, you know, if I have to do that, I have to do that. I would prefer not to have to cut off these lower control arm mounts because they are finish welded because I got ahead of myself. And I figured once they're in place, I'm not going to move them. So anyway, that's where things sit. I'm also, you see, the reason I cut these towers off is because I'm going to move them back about an inch so that they lean back a little more and they line up better with that lower control arm mount. The other thing I figured out tonight is this is where the factory steering linkage bolts onto. You can see it is laying over there by the coilovers now. I took it off because I'm going to go full hydro. Initially, I was going to put the orbital for the full hydro like up here somewhere, and then this linkage would come down and go through the thing here and then up this way and then go to the orbital. But then it's like right above the axle, which isn't a terrible thing, but if I put the orbital here and then figure out how to get from this to the input on the orbital, now the orbital is way up here, out of the way, theoretically easier to get to. All I have to do is take out the inner fender liner and I can get to the orbital. And then my lines that go to the ram could go back here to the control arm and take the control arm to the axle. Now, I don't know, maybe there's a reason not to do that, but it sure seems like an elegant solution to me. Because then you end up with those also being out of harm's way, They are right next to the exhaust, which seems like maybe not a great idea. I don't know. But at any rate, then things like droop and whatever, like the axle will droop along with the control arm. So as long as there's enough play at the bend up here at the top, then I shouldn't have to worry about how long the lines are for droop. That should never limit me. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. So the other thing I got done tonight is this Panhard bar was way too long. I cut 4 inches out of it. And now that I've done so, I feel like I could have cut 2 or 3 inches out of it instead. But I did take it off of here and I unthreaded these. And there's like, I mean, several inches of thread engagement. It goes all the way through the insert and into the tube yet. So I'm not worried about the thread engagement. I just don't love having that many threads exposed on something like this because those are going to rust. And as they rust, they will become difficult to work with if I ever have to shorten this Panhard bar. Same goes for those control arms, right? There's a lot more thread exposed there than I wanted. But, you know, live and learn. I am learning as I go in this project. And apparently over-guesstimating the amount of things I need to trim off is a problem that I have. Well, I was able to get in here with the plasma cutter and get those old shock mounts off. Came out pretty good. And then I have, so I got this whole new lower control arm mount from Off-Road Anonymous. But so this could replace the whole LCA that I've got on the axle right now. It is a little taller and a little beefier because it goes around the bottom of the axle. Gives you a little more mount surface, but it comes with these guys, which go on top like that to mount your coilovers. This fits on here as well. Now the question is going to be, can I do that and still mount my lower control arms? I think it's going to be a yes. It's going to be tighter though. And these are reversible, by the way, if anybody cares. You can set it up this way so that they're more inboard, or this way so they're more outboard. So what I'm hoping I can do is put these on the existing mounts. I'll probably go around and get some of the spots where I couldn't easily get some weld in there, because now these are going to be holding basically the whole weight of the front end. And I don't know. I guess that'll be okay. I mean, these are designed to do that. But again, these had more surface area in contact with the axle housing than the Barnes ones do. Because see, they have that juts off the bottom. That would weld to the bottom of the axle. So, I don't know. I don't really want to cut those off and redo it. But I could. That would be one more piece of this truss that I'm not using. Whew, it smells like metal shavings. I don't know about you. I like that smell. Maybe I'm weird. Anyway, check it out. So, got them about as clean as I'm going to get them with an angle grinder. You know what? I think it's good enough. Now, I think I'm going to stop for lunch, but next I'm going to work on filling in spots here that I didn't get when I first put these on here, right? Like, so I can add some weld up in there and up in here to add a little more support to these things. Then, yeah, I'm gonna work on putting those brackets on. What do you think? Think they're gonna be sturdy enough? I hope so. All right, so I did a bunch of additional welding, and now I'm trying to see how well these additional brackets are going to fit on my lower control arm mounts. So here we go, check it out. I took one of the ends that I had in the box. It's not attached to a control arm at the moment, and I just kind of placed it in here with the misalignment spacers, and I put these on top, and you can see there's not a lot of clearance here, so I may trim those off. These are not tacked yet, but they're roughly the width they're going to be at. I think this will work. I really do. The question will be, are these guys strong enough? And I mean, I don't have much else I can do to fix that. So I guess we're gonna have to see. All right, let's see how this looks. I've got 1/2 of the tabs attached to the lower control arm bracket, only because I'm still waiting on spacers for these coilovers. So I don't know exactly where I want to mount the second tab yet, because the clearance there has to account for those spacers. But check it out. So obviously there'll be a second tab here that'll hold that bolt in, and this isn't the factory, this isn't the hardware I'm going to use, that's just for placement. So I am losing, I don't know, 1/2 inch there. That'll be better in the real setup. But check it out. I ended up taking the Off-Road Anonymous shock towers and turning them so that they slant backwards a little bit. That lines them up a lot better over the rear of the axle. And I'm still leaving some stuff here on the table. This could go higher. I'm not gonna lie. But to get any more out of that, I either need a shorter coilover or a taller shock tower. And I could. I mean, look at that bracket that's on top of that shock tower. Other shock towers don't do that. Instead, the tower is taller and the brace mount, that's what that is, the bracket, is on the back of the tower. I don't know why RA does it this way, but they do, and you lose a couple inches of upward travel there. But I don't want to buy new towers. I get it. This could mean that someday I'm cutting these towers off to put new ones on. But again, first project. This is the first time I'm doing something like this. I'm going to have, probably in a summer or two, a reckoning. But that's this side. On the other side, of course, you can see similar setup, same concept. So once I get those spacers, which should be here any day, I had to order them from Poly Performance. For whatever reason, Poly Performance seems to take a while to get their orders together and get them shipped, and then they ship forever. So I ordered them like a week ago at this point. But once they're here, and then I can do that. I think the next thing to work on is the placement for the ram. I have sitting there on top of the other Dana 60. That's the ram mount that I bought from, I don't remember. Is it Barnes? It's either Barnes or TMR. I don't freaking know anymore. I have, the parts pile is getting smaller, but man, they're so varied and whatever. So anyway, I have to take the ram that I bought and mount it up on that upper plate, figure out where the holes need to be drilled to mount it. And then once those are drilled, I have to modify the axle mounting side because it's going to go on there. And I don't think they account for a truss when they design that. So it's going to go like right up against the pumpkin there. So I'm going to have to like cut off the one side of the semicircle that would go around the axle. Now, the other thing I need to figure out is how high up the ram has to be, because it'll contact my track bar if it's too high. So it's going to have to be like, the ram is going to have to be around here somewhere, which might mean that the thing points straight out, which means the ram is going to be slightly exposed. So once it's on there, I might think about, do I build like a skid plate to protect the ram? Probably. But for now, I just need to get it mounted, right? So anyway, that's next. I don't know if I'm doing that today. It's like mid-afternoon. I don't know. We'll see. So I think this is it. When I tried moving these back, so you see where I got that tack weld there that I haven't ground off yet. And that looked good. But there's this dip in the frame here that's made for where the factory coil spring bucket lives, the upper, the tower, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And this thing, these towers are designed to take advantage of that to fit the coilover. You can see there's not a ton of room back there. There's enough for the coil once it's on there. But with it moved back to here, the body of the shock was almost hitting the frame, like right around here. And once the coils were on there, it wouldn't have been able to clear. So while I liked the position of the shock better when it was back there further, I just don't have the clearance. So that's where the shock has to live. That's where the coilover has to live. Now, I could move the axle forward a little bit. I kind of went off stock, but with the steering I'm planning on, I don't need to do that. I could easily move that forward several inches. The problem then becomes the links. I made them too short. I'll have to make new links. But, I mean, I guess now's the time, right? Ugh. You live and learn, I guess, folks. This has been quite the learning procedure. So I think that what I do next is figure out placement for the, well, I don't even have to figure out. I'll just put the other tower back where I had it, which is right where this one is, the one on the other side of the Jeep. Then I got to get those lower brackets tacked on. And then, you know, I think tower placement is done. All right, I have both sides on. Not finish welded. I could go higher. But to be quite honest, there's like, what, 4 inches there between the truss and the oil pan? That seems like something I want to avoid. That could go, the axle could be forward a little bit. That track bar could be closer to the frame. This is this side. The only reason this isn't at full compression is because there's some binding between where I have the jack and the track bar. I think it wants to move the axle over, and if it moves over on the jack, then it's going to fall off the jack. That's a bad thing. So I just stopped it there. But yeah, I think this is where they're going to live. They're not finished welded yet. I will finish weld them maybe next time I'm down in the garage. I got to finish weld those guys, the lower brackets there. I feel like there's some compromises going on here, which I do not love, but I think I have spent long enough figuring out where to put these, and this is just going to have to do. I mean, first time through. This is my first time doing one of these 3-link front ends. I'm learning a ton. I must have changed the position of these front towers like 4 times now, and I ended up where I started at. So, here's what it is. I am going to clean up for tonight, maybe tomorrow night, pull the axle back out, finish weld the brackets on the axle, and then get started on the hydro steer mount, which is going to go right there. Okay, so in this video, I went through and I basically went through a ton of trial and error on getting these front towers in place, along with the lower brackets, right? I think this is a good place to close up this video, and I'll start the next one with the hydro steer stuff, so you can look forward to that. Yeah, this has been a hell of a learning experience, folks. If you are not ready for a ton of frustration, either bring over a buddy who's done one of these before. I don't have anybody local. I've been pinging people, friends I have online and whatnot, people I've met, people who have been friendly enough with me, folks like Dirt Lifestyle. I'm in a Facebook group full of people who do this stuff and build. I do have an off-road shop like a half hour away. If I really, really, really needed help, I could go to them. But I really want to do this alone. And it's been a project. I mean, it's obviously a project, but it's been a difficult project. And yeah, just know what you're getting into if you're going to do a project like this. I'll be back with the hydro steer hopefully next time around. Remember, folks, get out there and wheel, or I don't know, hang out in your garage and cut brackets off your Jeep and put them back on a dozen times. That's also fun. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one.